is about to change. The Duttons have faced enemies before, but never like this. Season 2, Episode 4 of 1923 brings a betrayal so deep, so unexpected, that it threatens to destroy everything they have built. The ranch isn't just under attack from the outside, someone on the inside has turned against them. Trust is shattered, and as the dust settles, the question remains: who betrayed the Duttons? And will they survive what's coming next? For generations, the Dutton family has stood their ground against those who sought to take their land. They have survived droughts, outlaws, and bloodthirsty rivals, always holding onto their legacy with an iron grip. But even the strongest foundations can crumble when betrayal comes from within. Tension has been brewing in the Dutton ranch for weeks. Jacob Dutton, the unwavering leader, has felt it in the air. The hushed conversations, the stolen glances, the unease among the men. Something isn't right. The Duttons have always fought against outside threats, but this time, the danger is closer than ever. The betrayal doesn't come in the form of an ambush or a raid. It begins as whispers in the shadows, plans being made behind closed doors. And then, the trap is set. One moment, the ranch is alive with the usual chaos of the frontier, cattle being herded, men working the land, the Dutton name standing tall. The next, everything is thrown into turmoil. Without warning, gunshots ring out, piercing the morning silence. The ranch, once a symbol of strength and resilience, becomes a battlefield. Flames rise in the distance, turning the sky into a hellish glow. The enemy isn't just attacking, they are dismantling everything piece by piece. But how did they know exactly when to strike? How did they get past the defenses? The answer is chilling. Someone within the Dutton household has helped them. Someone with knowledge of the land, of the family's weaknesses, has betrayed them. And as the fight for survival begins, one thing becomes painfully clear. Trust is no longer an option. Jack Dutton, still young but hardened by the struggles of ranch life, is among the first to respond. Rifle in hand, he charges forward, firing back at the attackers, determined to protect his home. But he doesn't realize the full extent of the betrayal. The enemy is not just coming for their land, they are coming for blood. Elizabeth, watching from the safety of the house, feels her heart race as chaos unfolds. She had doubts about this life before, but nothing could have prepared her for this. The battle raging outside isn't just a fight for survival, it's a test of whether she truly belongs in the Dutton family. Meanwhile, miles away, Spencer Dutton feels a deep sense of unease. He doesn't know why, but something is pulling at him, warning him that his family is in danger. Every delay, every obstacle keeping him from returning home suddenly feels like a cruel trick of fate. He has fought battles across the world, but the fight that matters most is the one he isn't there to face. As the gunfire echoes across the land, the Dutton ranch stands on the edge of destruction. The family is outnumbered, their defenses crumbling. But the true devastation isn't just the bullets or the fire. It's the knowledge that one of their own is responsible for it all. Who could have done this? A ranch hand? A trusted ally? Or worse, someone even closer? As the chaos intensifies, the weight of betrayal seeps deeper into the heart of the Dutton family. The ranch is burning, bodies are falling, and the enemy moves with an unsettling precision, one that only an insider could have provided. Jacob Dutton, despite his years of wisdom and experience, struggles to grasp the reality before him. His mind races through every possibility, every person he's ever trusted. But the horror of realizing that someone within his own walls has orchestrated this attack nearly brings him to his knees. This isn't just an ambush, it's an execution, carefully planned, designed to dismantle everything piece by piece. The attackers know exactly where to strike, the best places to breach their defenses, and the perfect moment when the ranch is at its most vulnerable. Jacob shouts orders to his men, his voice hoarse with urgency, but even as they fight, the walls are closing in. The Dutton ranch, the stronghold of their legacy, is under siege, and for the first time, it feels like they might not win. Jack Dutton fights with the reckless desperation of a man who refuses to surrender. His rifle is hot in his hands, every shot taken with precision, but the sheer number of attackers threatens to overwhelm him. He doesn't understand how they got in, how they moved so quickly, how they knew the layout so well. And then it hits him. Someone betrayed them. Someone he likely sat beside at the dinner table, worked alongside in the fields, shared a drink with after a long day. The thought fuels his rage, his body moving on pure adrenaline as he reloads and fires, refusing to let them take what belongs to his family. Nearby, Elizabeth watches the carnage unfold from inside the house, her hands trembling as she clutches a rifle she barely knows how to use. She knew the Dutton name carried danger, but never did she imagine this, a full-scale war erupting on their doorstep, the line between friend and foe blurred beyond recognition. She isn't just a woman caught in the crossfire anymore. If she wants to survive, she will have to become something else entirely. Outside, blood stains the dirt as the Dutton men fight to hold their ground, but their enemy is relentless. And then, through the smoke and gunfire, a figure emerges, a face once trusted, now twisted in betrayal. The truth lands like a fatal blow. The betrayer isn't a nameless ranch hand, nor a rival with a grudge. It's someone who knows the Duttons better than anyone, someone who stood by them, earned their trust, only to turn against them when it mattered most. Maybe it's a longtime friend, a hired gun who grew resentful, or even someone bound to them by blood. The realization is a knife to the gut. Jacob's eyes lock onto them, his expression unreadable. But behind that hardened gaze, something dark is brewing. He doesn't need to say a word. His silence speaks volumes. The betrayer smirks, unrepentant, standing among the enemy as if they had never been a part of the Dutton family at all. Whatever loyalty they once had is gone, replaced by something cold and calculated. They aren't just here to see the Duttons fall. They want to be the reason it happens. A gunshot rings out, the crack slicing through the air like a whip. A Dutton man falls, another piece of their legacy ripped away in an instant. The enemy pushes forward, forcing the Duttons back toward the house, toward the last line of defense. Panic claws at the edges of reason. If they lose the house, they lose everything. But Jacob Dutton isn't a man who goes down easily. He raises his rifle, his voice like thunder as he calls for his family to hold the line. His hands are steady, his mind sharp. This ranch has been his life, and he won't let it slip away. Not to raiders, not to rival landowners, and certainly not to a traitor. But as he takes aim, his mind flickers back to the one thing that still haunts him. The question that he cannot escape. Why? Why would one of their own do this? Was it greed, revenge, or something even worse? An act of pure survival, a desperate move in a world where power is the only thing that matters? The answer lingers just out of reach, but one thing is certain. This betrayal has changed everything. The Duttons aren't just fighting for their land anymore. They're fighting for their very existence, and the battle is far from over. The night air is thick with the acrid stench of gunpowder and burning wood, the sky lit by the eerie glow of flames consuming the outbuildings of the Dutton ranch. The chaos is deafening, shouting voices, the rapid fire of gunshots, the panicked cries of horses trapped in the inferno. The Duttons are outnumbered but not broken. Not yet. Jacob, blood smeared across his face, barely has time to process the betrayal before he's forced to fight harder than ever. He reloads his rifle with practiced efficiency, his body running on instinct, decades of experience guiding every movement. His men are falling, one by one, and he knows the enemy isn't here just to send a warning. They're here to wipe out the Duttons for good. Jack refuses to back down. He fights like a man possessed, fueled by the rage of knowing someone inside their ranks sold them out. His knuckles are raw, his body aching, but he pushes forward, gun in hand, determined to drive the intruders off his land. Elizabeth, watching from inside the house, is paralyzed by fear, but knows she can't stay hidden forever. She grips the rifle tighter, her breath coming in sharp bursts. If she has to defend this home, she will. Her hands shake, but her resolve does not. This isn't just about survival. It's about proving she belongs here, proving she's strong enough to stand by Jack's side no matter the cost. The gunfire echoes across the valley, but suddenly, something changes. A new sound cuts through the battlefield, the distant rumble of approaching riders. For a brief second, hope flickers in Jacob's heart. Reinforcements? Has someone answered their call for help? But that hope is short-lived as the truth becomes clear. The riders aren't allies. They're part of the ambush, more men arriving to finish what was started. The sight of them is like a knife twisting deeper into the wound. The Duttons are already struggling, and now the enemy has doubled in numbers. Jacob knows they're running out of time. The ranch is falling around them, the sheer force of the attack threatening to destroy everything they've built. His mind races. Who else can he trust? Who else might be working against them from the inside? The answer is still unknown, but the evidence of betrayal is clear in every calculated strike against them. The traitor didn't just sell them out. They handed over every secret, every weakness, every vulnerability the Duttons had tried to keep hidden. Amidst the chaos, one thing is certain. The enemy is pushing them toward a breaking point. Jacob makes a split-second decision. He bellows a command for his men to fall back toward the house. If they're going to make a last stand, it will be there. Brick walls, sturdy doors. At least inside, they can hold out longer than in the open. The remaining Dutton men pull back, their boots pounding against the dirt as they retreat under cover of gunfire. The enemy advances, relentless, pressing forward with the confidence of men who believe they've already won. Inside the house, Elizabeth flinches as bullets splinter the wooden walls. She forces herself to stay steady, to stay strong. She's no longer the girl who once dreamed of a quiet life. Tonight, she is a fighter, a woman who will do whatever it takes to protect the family she's become a part of. She positions herself near the door, rifle raised, ready for whatever comes next. As the Duttons regroup inside, Jacob slams the heavy door shut and locks it. The house is their last stronghold now. If they lose it, they lose everything. Sweat drips from his brow, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. He turns to his family, his gaze meeting Jack's, then Kara's. No words need to be spoken. They all understand what's at stake. And then, just as quickly as the gunfire had erupted, a strange silence falls over the battlefield. The Duttons hold their breath, waiting, listening. The enemy is out there, just beyond the flickering firelight, lurking in the darkness. And somewhere among them, the betrayer watches, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. But Jacob Dutton is no fool. He may not know who betrayed them yet, but he will find out. And when he does, there will be no mercy. The silence hanging over the ranch is more terrifying than the battle itself. The gunfire has stopped, but the air is still thick with smoke and death. Jacob Dutton grips his rifle, his knuckles white with tension. Every instinct in his body tells him this isn't over. The enemy isn't retreating out of fear. They're waiting, watching, toying with their prey. And the worst part? Jack paces near the window, his breath's coming hard and fast. His face is smeared with sweat and blood, some of it his, some of it not. The weight of betrayal sits heavy in his chest. Someone they trusted, someone they had let into their home, had sold them out. And that someone is still close. Jack turns sharply toward Jacob. We need to figure out who did this. Now. His voice is hoarse with fury. Kara, ever the steady presence, places a hand on Jacob's arm. Her face is pale but determined. We need to be smart about this, she says. Whoever it is, they know our land, our weaknesses. They knew exactly when and where to strike. And that means they'll strike again. Jacob's jaw tightens. He scans the faces of the men who made it inside. Some are battered, others barely standing, but they all wear the same look. Fear, exhaustion, and something else. Guilt, or just the horror of knowing how close they came to dying. And then, from outside, a voice pierces the silence. A voice Jacob recognizes. Jacob Dutton! The call comes from the darkness beyond the firelight. A shadowed figure stands near the burning barn, his form barely visible against the flames licking at the night sky. Jacob steps closer, his heart pounding. Recognition sets in like a slow-burning fire. It's Clive Dawson, a man Jacob once trusted, a man who had worked alongside them, shared meals with them, laughed with them as if he were one of their own. But now, standing with the enemy, his gun slung over his shoulder, his face twisted with something between triumph and regret, he looks like a stranger. Jack lunges forward, rage exploding from his chest. You son of a... Jacob stops him with a firm hand. His eyes never leave Clive's. Why? His voice is steady, but there's a storm raging beneath it. Clive lets out a slow breath. You think the Duttons own this land? He says. You think it belongs to you because you were here first, but you never understood what it means to share it. His expression darkens. We were starving, Jacob. You had enough, and you let us go hungry. You chose your own over the people who worked for you. And now, Those people have chosen a side. Jacob shakes his head, his lips pressing into a thin line. You think I don't take care of my own? His voice drops to a growl. You were never one of us, Clive, and if you wanted war, all you had to do was say so. Clive chuckles, but there's no humor in it. This isn't just about me. You've made enemies in every corner of this valley, Jacob. They're just too scared to stand against you. But not anymore. He gestures to the men waiting in the darkness. This is bigger than a grudge. It's a reckoning. Jack can't hold back any longer. You betrayed us, you stood beside us, and now you stand with them. Clive's expression hardens. I stood with you until I realized what I was standing for. And now you'll lose everything. The words send a fresh wave of fury through Jacob, but he knows better than to let anger cloud his judgment. The enemy isn't just Clive, it's everyone he's rallied against the Duttons. The attack tonight was just the beginning, and if Jacob doesn't end this now, there won't be a ranch left to defend. A gunshot rings out. For a second, everything freezes. Clive stumbles back, clutching his side. Blood blooms across his shirt like ink spilling on paper. A moment later, he drops to his knees, gasping for breath. Jack lowers his smoking rifle, his hands trembling with adrenaline. His eyes are locked on Clive, his chest rising and falling with rapid breaths. Jacob doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. The betrayal has been answered with blood, but the fight isn't over. Outside, the enemy stirs. There's movement in the shadows. A voice shouts, and suddenly, the battle reignites. Gunfire erupts, bullets tearing through the walls of the house. The Duttons are back in the fight, but now they know the truth. This isn't just a land dispute. This is war. A war they might not win. But Jacob Dutton isn't about to go down without a fight. The night is drenched in chaos, the air thick with gunpowder and the acrid stench of burning wood. The ranch, once a symbol of Dutton resilience, is now a battlefield. The gunfire is relentless, echoing through the valley like a drumbeat of war. Jacob Dutton knows they are outnumbered, but surrender has never been an option. His boots crunch against the blood-soaked dirt as he reloads, his eyes scanning the darkness for the next threat. The enemy isn't just some nameless force. These are men with grudges, men who have waited for this moment to bring the Duttons to their knees. And the worst part? One of their own made this possible. Clive Dawson's betrayal was a wound deeper than any bullet could inflict, and even as he lay bleeding out in the dirt, the damage was done. His information had given their enemies a clear advantage, and now the Duttons were fighting for their very existence. Jack, blood dripping from a gash on his forehead, barely flinches as bullets ricochet off the barn's remains. His rifle is an extension of his fury, his shots precise, each one a declaration that he will not let the Dutton name fall tonight. His hands shake with adrenaline, his heart pounding in his ears. He sees Jacob duck behind cover, his face set in stone. They've fought battles before, but this feels different. This isn't just a land war, it's personal. And the Duttons may not walk away from this one. Inside the house, Kara clutches a shotgun, her breath measured but her heart racing. The women and the wounded are barricaded in the parlor, the furniture piled high against the doors, as if wood and nails could hold back the flood of violence outside. But she refuses to cower. She knows what it means to be a Dutton. She has watched her family fight for this land for years, and if this is the night she dies, she will do so with her finger on the trigger. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow flickering through the windows, sends ice through her veins. She steadies her shaking hands. The enemy will not take this house without a fight. Outside, the standoff reaches its boiling point. The attacking force begins to regroup, their strategy shifting. Jacob watches as their leader, an imposing figure with cold, calculating eyes, steps forward, raising a hand to halt the gunfire. The sudden silence is deafening. The man, a ruthless cattle baron named Randall Vickers, smirks as he surveys the damage. "Jacob Dutton," he calls out, his voice smooth as poison. "You've put up a hell of a fight, but you know as well as I do, this ends one way. Give up the land, and I might let you live." Jacob steps out from behind cover, his rifle steady in his grip. His jaw clenches, his eyes burning with defiance. "You think I'm just going to hand over everything I built?" he growls. "You don't know me at all." Vickers chuckles, shaking his head. "No, I know exactly who you are. A man who's run out of time." He gestures to his men, and in an instant, gunfire erupts again. The ranch explodes into chaos. The last line of defense is breaking. One by one, the Dutton fighters are being pushed back, forced to retreat toward the house. Jack pulls a wounded ranch hand to safety, his breath ragged, his vision blurring from exhaustion. Jacob fires until his gun clicks empty, then swings it like a club, knocking an attacker to the ground. But even he can feel it. The tide is turning against them. Just when it seems like all hope is lost, a distant sound pierces through the violence, the pounding of hooves growing louder with each second. At first, it seems like a trick of the mind, but then Jacob sees it. Riders emerging from the darkness, moving fast. Reinforcements. A group of allies. Neighboring ranchers, loyal hands, men who still believe in the Dutton name, charge in, rifles raised, their battle cries cutting through the night. The ambush is swift. The enemy, caught off guard, scatters in confusion. Gunfire erupts from every direction, and within moments, the tide shifts. Jack lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding as he sees their attackers falling back, retreating into the night. The fight isn't over, but the worst has passed. The ranch still stands. Barely. As the dust settles, Jacob walks through the battlefield that was once his home. Bodies litter the ground, the earth soaked with blood. The price of survival has never been higher. He turns to Jack, who stands beside him, battered but unbroken. "This isn't over," Jacob mutters. "They'll come back." Jack nods, his grip tightening on his rifle. "Then we'll be ready." Kara steps onto the porch, her eyes scanning the wreckage of their home. There is no victory in her expression, only the weary acceptance that they have survived another day. But for how much longer? The Duttons are still standing, but war has just begun, and the next battle may be their last. Share your thoughts in the CF comment and subscribe our channel for more 1923 Season 2, Episode 4 updates. Then KS.